Win the morning and you can win the day. It's tried and true. And I really, really, really believe that. But every day is not the same. Every day is not the same. And so many different things and so many variables can lead to you not winning that day. And that's why I really want everybody to think about not trying to win the day, but think about winning the week. Think about your life in weeks, because making every week better is how you make your whole life better. And at the end of the show, I'm going to lay out exactly my rhythm of my week and the structure and why I've designed it the way that I've designed it, and how it's meant to fit into each month, each quarter, and each year to really be the foundation for the rhythm of my existence, as I've spoke about. I really want to share with you at least my approach on how I look at weeks and then how I measure weeks, because I do think it's so much more effective to follow that pattern rather than just get caught up in what are you doing on just a daily basis, even though that is incredibly important. Welcome to Build with Rob. Another episode that's near and dear to my core being today. I've really been pushing everybody to look at their life through the lens of they are creating time and they create the week, and you've got a limited amount of weeks to live. So you want to try to maximize each one of your weeks, understand them. And as each one passes, that becomes the reality of your life, and that is your existence, and all of your weeks up to this moment in time make up your entire existence. And for me, I'm living gloriously in week 2554. God, it feels good. And I can tell you right now, like the last couple years of weeks have just been absolutely incredible. I can tell you right now, without a doubt, the last 200 weeks of my life, bar none, greatest times 1,000. And it's also, this idea of getting excited, thinking about the last 200 weeks is furthering the design and inspiration even behind the software that I am now calling the Existence Operating System, so that you can reflect back on and look at these great milestones and achievements and moments in time that's happened through these weeks of your life for you to, be able to reflect and see how far that you have come, and be able to show how much better you have become week by week, rather than did you get better day by day, right? Because day by day is just so, incredibly difficult. And I think, for me, when anybody interviews me or talks to me about sort of the way that I live and sort of my mindset and my discipline, it's always about like, what is your morning routine? And again, I really believe in that. I do think you have to have an incredible morning routine to have a great day. And I'm, as you know, I'm a very disciplined and highly committed person that tracks everything that they do every day, who up until this point is still 100% for this year of doing everything in his morning routine, which includes getting up at 5, brain training, meditating, getting in the gym, taking supplements, eating clean, not drinking, although I never really drink when I did drink before 8 a.m. I guess maybe if I stayed up all night. Because this high level discipline is also like a guy at one point that would, stay up all night, and still like have a drink at like 5 a.m, but those days I have evolved away from in the sense of trying to live a more harmonious, beautiful existence. Because when you do that, you basically wipe away like a month or two of your life, at least a solid week if you end up drinking till 5 a.m. But I'm beyond having a daily routine that leads to consistent great days. To me, I have this rhythm of the week. I have not only a great morning routine that informs having great days, but every single one of those days is different Monday through Friday. So I can't look at them all identically. And then I've built a structure and a rhythm and a system to my week that creates the same consistency that I get out of a morning routine, only now I have it over a weekly. And that week really, really shows me how great of a week I had. Rather than looking at just the day where you can have one or two bad days in a week and be off. But when you look at all 7 of those days, you actually had a solid week. And it also gives you this amazing framework to prevent yourself from slipping and going from a bad day into a bad week, into a bad month, into a bad quarter, into a bad year, into a bad life. That's the slope. If you even look at a week more as sort of your guardrails. If you could look at a week as guardrails of like how you spend your time, how you design your time, what you do each day, and measure that week and try to replicate that, optimize that, replicate that on an ongoing basis, that's going to be the pathway to leading you towards a better life and the life that you desire. You can't compare what you're going to do on a Saturday to what you are going to do on a Monday. You can't compare the energy that you have on a Friday to the same energy you have on a Tuesday. It's these different days, depending on how your life is, serve a completely different purpose to you. And it does the same thing for me, but designing it in a way that it serves the purpose that's going to keep you balanced, energized, and happy is really at the core of creating, that rhythm and that time design that does provide that consistency for you. No different than if you went after a morning routine. And, it'll always be about, discipline and consistency. No matter what you do in life, you in order to live a high energy, amazing existence, you've got to be disciplined. And then you've got to, create your life the way that allows you to stay disciplined, and then ultimately, like, all of the things that you enjoy and keep you balanced in order to live a harmonious existence. And that really is found in the way that you design your weeks, versus the way that you design your day. And again, if you're someone that like, hey, I go out with friends on Friday, so I sleep in on Saturdays, and I'm, I love, seeing a late night matinee, whatever your rhythm that keeps you balanced, keeps you happy, will then determine where you would slot in things each week to keep your rhythm, to then stack your morning routine and your daily rituals and habits to create this nice rhythm of a week that can really, really be the foundation of your balance, and it's, it's different than, just, thinking about, oh, what did I do this week to have great habits. It's more, for me, thinking about it also on this much broader scale of how many weeks do you have to live? How many weeks do you actually have to live? And look, I'm not everybody feels good about this conversation. You know what I mean? I don't know. I still can't quite determine who's cool with it and who's not. If you have 52 weeks in a year, and, you're going to live to 90 years old, you got 4,680 weeks if you're going to live to 90. If you're going to live to 90 years old, you have 4,680. For me, if I'm telling you I'm at 25, 54, and 90's my number, even though I'm an optimist and I see myself way older, and you might see yourself even younger, but it's not necessarily something you would ever want to face. But I think you should. I laid out my vision for how long I wanted to live in weeks. I got on Illustrator and I made every single week that I had already lived into a diamond that was red, and then all the weeks that I had left to live into white squares, so that I could see visually, this is how much life I have yet to experience. And I shared that with my wife, and her immediate reaction was gross. She said, gross. She's like, this is gross. And I'm like, oh, you don't, well, what? This is amazing. No, this is gross. And even for me, I don't know what I expected. Okay, I don't know what I expected her reaction, but it really threw me off that she just hit me with gross. It just took it to such a different level for me. And again, I don't know that it's necessarily for everybody to think about, and I think specifically people that in their 30s that I've shared it with have been the most repulsed. You know what I mean? I think someone in their 20s probably doesn't even pay it any mind. I don't know. But for the most part, people do find it somewhat morbid, right? Like, well, you're going to pick your death day. And I find it exhilarating and informative, because when you can look at your week as, hey, you only got 52 in the year, and if you want to have a great life, make 70% of those great weeks, and you have an incredible life. Shoot, you make, of the 52, if you make 55%, you're going to be half full and feel like your life's amazing. And, you make, if your goal is to have 2 good weeks a month, you're still going to have an amazing life. And if you begin to break it down into, this is a great way to measure how committed I am to my health, how much time I'm spending on work versus with my wife and kids or my family and friends. Like, am I doing the things that I enjoy, or am I just doing all these things that I have to do? If you begin to measure it and look at it from a week, and then you begin to look at it through the lens of, well, I've got 52 of these weeks a year, and I'd like to spend a handful of these traveling and doing these more recreational things or things that I enjoy, and you see all of it through that lens, you begin to now have a clearer understanding of how much time that you actually have to live. And so it informs like your ability to see further out into the future, of knowing that you want to make changes in a quicker and faster way, rather than just, continually moving into day after day after day after day after day, like hoping that eventually the future is going to change for you when you have time. It's just another one of those frameworks that I love using in my life, and looking at like how much time do I have left to experience life is not morbid to me, because again, I'm guessing, and anytime I put any content out about I want to live to 114 and 54 days and experience 1 million hours of life, 5,000, 5,396 weeks, everybody gets all like, oh, you're going to, why do you want to do that? You never know when your good day is going to come. God's coming. When God comes a-knocking. When God comes a-knocking, Rob, all that health and longevity ain't going to do nothing for you. And you're right, bitter Midwest troll in the Instagram comments. But it ain't about that. It really is just, I would equate it almost to like, you would never save money and never have a budget because you're going to die anyway. And so you just spend your whole life going from check to check, struggling, and now you're 75, needing to work at Starbucks so you could pay for your apartment to survive because you never saved any money. It's the same thing. And then like, dang, I thought I was going to die at 40, and now I'm 75 working at Starbucks. Did you say triple coconut latte? Right? Like, that is the same thing to me if you don't look at your time and budget your time and look at it through the lens that you are the creator of time. And if you are hopeful, how far do you want to live, and let that be the anchor, and then back that into how many weeks that you have, and then set your intention to build a rhythm for your week that starts with a great morning routine, to have great days, to stack together great weeks that you optimize and get better and better over the years, so that you are realizing a much more joyful life as you continue towards your inevitable final week. And it feels morbid. I know. And I love it. I love the framework. And it really opened up my eyes to the idea that we create time. Because once I really got deep into creating the rhythm of existence and sort of my life in days and weeks and months and years, like when you begin to see the rhythm of how you sort of act and see how life actually unfolds, you really understand that you are in fact creating time. And the greatest measurement of how you're creating time is how you feel. And if you back that into looking at a week of how did this week feel and what can I do to make next week better, man, that is a very clear framework for you to follow to just make your life incrementally better over and over. Because you're creating the time each day, and you're deciding what you're going to do that will eventually, make you healthier, happier, wealthier, or prevent you from being a better version of yourself. And it's easy to see inside that framework. And again, I'm an optimist in this, your life and weeks game. You know what I mean? Because if I have 5,936 to live at 114, I just knocked out 2,554. What do I got left to play with? I got 3,382. You know what I mean? And even if I'm being realistic instead of optimistic, and I can tell you right now from my body type, my health, how Gene is still rocking the golf course at 83, and his father died at like 95. I could say with high certainty, my realistic number is 90. If I want to be a negative Nancy out here, and that's still, I know I got 2,126 to go. And so for me, even when I use that framework to plan sort of my future, like I know that sort of this stage of my life and building this next big path that includes the philosophy and the software and the content and everything behind this, I know that at this point in these stages over the next 4 or 5 years, that this will be sort of the final chapter of where I dedicate a lot of energy to building. And then into the future, I'm going to focus on, really savoring a lot more aspects of life and traveling and golfing and doing more one-off creative projects as opposed to these very, very complex, large, big quantum leap level projects like creating a philosophy and a software and the content connected to that. I know I can look out and know that, in the next, couple hundred weeks that I'm going to want to be transitioning to using my time to savor life for the remainder of those weeks and be just like Gene. If Gene's making a hard run, beating all of us on the golf course at 83 easily, I'm the same guy. Only I'm saying I'm going to be 93, easily smoking people on the golf course, hitting darts. Because luckily for me, the Dyrdek genetics has like this flawless swing that can only send the ball dead straight. Shout out to Pappy Dyrdek and whatever he did in our rotator cuffs to give us that nice smooth swing, because Gene's got it and Robert's got it. And I will enjoy recreationally golfing like my father many, many weeks into the future. And again, it's just another thing for you to use as a tool to understand where you are at in your existence, how to optimize it in an easier and more understandable framework, and give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. It's so hard to be disciplined and do everything in your morning routine 7 days a week and have a great day 7 days a week. It's so incredibly difficult. And you're, even when you design time really well and you have a great rhythm for your week, like you're highly intentional, you're still going to get worn out. You're still going to get hit with these random things. You're still going to be tested. That is going to ruin 1, 2, 3 days in that week. That might feel over a stretch of period that you just had a bad month. But the truth is you just had 3 days that were bad. And when you look at the reset as Monday and you're starting that week over, it gives you that deeper level of sort of the guardrails to even compartmentalize even when life comes at you with the unexpected things. And then you even get to understand what those were and how do you optimize into the future to hope that they don't happen again, to get even more consistent with having less bad days inside those weeks. And it's a much easier thing to judge when you judge a week rather than judging a day. And then having a couple bad days in a row and then just being like, all right, going back to donuts. Missed the gym 3 days in a row. Like, I am just lazy. Man, okay, that pizza, I guess I'll have this pizza. I'll pick it up, next month, after the holidays. It's already November. It's going to be Thanksgiving. Like, oh, straight into the holidays. You want to know what? I'm going to get motivated on January 1st. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm speaking about myself for basically the last, if I'm 49, that's how I operated. Not up until like 10 years ago, up until like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I was still, losing it come Thanksgiving and then just fading all the way into Christmas into New Year's. And I got the data to prove it. Since I have incrementally weighed myself every single day for the last 7 years, I can show you my holiday body by weeks because I only log in my weekly average of weight. And for many years, you'd see me just thickening up from November to peak pig at Jan 1, start all over. In the new year, new me. Thank God now, of course, I've evolved beyond that. So it is no longer part of my way of being where I am just, straight, basically within a point of a pound on a weekly basis on a nonstop level now, which I'm very grateful for because I really never thought I'd be able to escape it. And again, it was just measuring that week over week that led to it. But here's what my week looks like in the sense of me creating that rhythm, because of course I'm to the point where I'm much more disciplined and I just, I enjoy the idea of not missing like any of my morning routine under any circumstances ever, or the core things that I track. Like it's just now where I design my entire life around it. So no matter what, I'm up before 5, I'm brain training, meditating, and getting in the gym every single day, no matter what. It's just not even something that I even compromise, not when I travel, not when I'm on vacation, nothing. And again, you add your, health side of that as it relates to, eating clean and taking supplements and really getting a great night's sleep and tracking the sleep and logging all of your time and all of these things that go into my morning routine, that continually to make, give me that ability to live each day with intention. But knowing that life's going to come at you a certain feeling way, I'm going to feel different ways, even being that disciplined, and that I'm still going to want to be adaptable based off of how I feel. But on Mondays, I basically do a reset to set the entire week. And for me, that's always just been like what's easiest for me. Like I let the weekend kind of flow, and then on Monday, let me set essentially the intention for the week. And to me, that's essentially like the C-suite meetings. It's I spend, after I do my morning routine, drop the kids off at school, then I spend the time going through organizing everything that I want to speak to my key executives with, and I meet with my chief of staff, COO, CFO, CMO. And that is my Monday. Like, let me get to the high level of every single thing that's going on. And that basically, essentially gets me caught up on every aspect of what I'm doing across all businesses, family office, and life, right? All of it in that sort of Monday reset for me. And then I leave the afternoons for a little bit of free work time, spend time with the kids, depending on the time. Sometimes I'll take my wife to dinner. I used to pack that Monday in with back to back to back to back to backs. And I liked something I didn't, somewhere I didn't need to do, I should do later. I just continually optimized till I got the Monday in a place that gave me a ton of energy and set the week off, right? And then on Tuesdays, I always shoot TV on Tuesdays, or I set meetings that are ad hoc meetings, right? So in my rhythm, I'm always shooting TV on Tuesdays and Fridays, every other week, right? Then I build, those every other week time slots is where I throw in interviews and ad hoc meetings and all this stuff. So I stay in that same rhythm. I'm still getting up with the same morning routine, all the way to the gym, taking the kids to school. Boom. Then I'm either like going to shoot TV on that day, or I have ad hoc meetings that day or do execution. But that rhythm never changes. Like, I wouldn't shift that around unless there's, holidays or something and I'm not shooting, I would. But for the most part, that's the structure that I've created. And then Wednesdays is, same morning routine. Then I have sort of standing, ongoing software meetings that I put in the time slot in the morning. I have my peer group, Tiger 21, that I meet with once a month. On Wednesdays, that takes up 6 hours in the afternoon. So I have that block in the morning. And then again, I use that for, perhaps a portfolio meeting, or, the software meeting, or something early on or more ad hoc. But I would never put a crucial meeting there that I would have to, in the afternoon, that I would have to not take because of my once a month peer group meeting, right? So, again, designing it for the week, but also the month and the year, not to disrupt my rhythm or my flow. And on Wednesday nights, I go see a movie with my wife every Wednesday night, and every evening I'm, at 6:00, I end up on the couch with the kids where we watch a movie together, no matter what. And then on Wednesday nights, we go and see a movie almost every single Wednesday night. And then on Thursdays where I will pack it in, and again, morning routine. And then I will take the kids to school, take my wife on a breakfast date. And then we do our family sync of getting organized with the entire family and all this stuff. I do financial meetings, portfolio meetings, all these things, because I made Thursday the one day in the week that I can set ongoing meetings, because I never will put something on a Thursday that will ever disrupt the flow. Right? Like, so I've, if my Mondays that fully get organized, Tuesdays shooting television and flexibility, Wednesdays has some flexibility in it, and then Thursdays locked. Thursdays where you put all those ongoing meetings, so that you can stay in a rhythm on these weeklies that you have to do, and they're not disrupted based off of your shooting schedule. And then on Fridays, and on a Thursday night, me and the wife have talk night. Like, hey, turn off the TV and let's just talk. And when we're at breakfast that day, we talk through everything that we're going to talk about that night. And then Friday is another shoot day. And then most of the time when I don't shoot television, then I shoot the podcast. right? And put it into that slot. So again, when you see that Monday through Friday rhythm, by creating that consistency and then time blocking based off of the needs of it being a weekly meeting or needing ad hoc space or shooting television, it allows, around my time with my kids and dates with my wife, you can see where just that week rhythm, just doing that over and over and continually optimizes it, just guarantees that I'm going to be living in this harmonious, balanced, high energy state, because I just continually optimize into using the ad hoc time for the things that I have to execute, continually having the weeklies that are important, fitting in the amount of meetings that I need to be on top of and collaborative with everybody involved in my overall system, but still like adaptable based off of how I feel. And then on the weekends, I get up the same way, no different, 5 a.m., run the whole thing. And then it's family adventure on Saturday. It's martial arts. It's, gymnastics. It's go see a movie. It's more ad hoc as it relates to spending time with the family. Every Sunday for the last 2 years, I have a 2-hour call with the author of the book I am creating, and where we just ideate and talk philosophy every Sunday morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Then I jump on top of doing my morning routine right after I wake the kids up, and then end the evening after an adventure day with family or doing some sort of life activity. Do I then go take the wife out for our Sunday sushi, come back, spend time with the kids, and then get ready to do it all over again. And again, I look at that week and I look at what was your qualitative score average for the week? What was your body composition for the week? What was your sleep score average for the week? I rate my brain training like qualitatively. What does that look like? Tracking my blood sugar. What was your overall average? And now I have all these data and all this numbers to look at, like, how optimized and how well did I win that week. And I look at it through quantified numbers and qualitative numbers and biometrics and how I spent my time. And I could show you in numbers and graphs of what an incredible week that I had. And when you look at all the weeks over the last, 200, 150, you really see how optimizing for the week has really led my quality life to a higher and higher place. And that's really what it's about. You're just looking for ways to create the framework to get yourself to a higher quality of life, and measuring your life in weeks and trying to have a better week over week, or create your weekly average that's a great week, is going to be the best path to get there. And you know what it is. You got to create the vision to get there. You got to build the strategy to realize those weeks, and then you got to go out and live it. So it's amazing. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.